Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time. For years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters.
Well, I mean, the thing is, half of them indicted now too. So, 50 is the penguin on a diet.
Oh.
Curtis?
You can find him in the club.
Diddy told her he was going to kill Biggie. She knew it was going to happen.
Next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up.
You know what's interesting about 50 Cent's Diddy documentary? It's not what's in it. It's what got left on the cutting room floor. And Jaguar Wright is about to tell you exactly what Netflix didn't want you to see. While everyone's been streaming Diddy, the Making of a Bad Boy on Netflix, Jaguar Wright has been doing interviews calling the whole thing a setup, not a documentary, a mockumentary, in her words. And when you hear what she says got cut, you might start wondering if she has a point. So let's talk about what allegedly didn't make the final cut, who was protected, and why Jaguar thinks 50 Cent's real agenda has nothing to do with justice. First, we need to understand what this documentary actually is. 50 Cent spent nearly 2 years putting together this 4-part Netflix series. It follows Sean Combs from his early days in Harlem through building Bad Boy Entertainment, all the way to his arrest and conviction. The series includes rare footage of Diddy with his legal team right before he was taken into custody. There are interviews with former associates, industry insiders, and people connected to the trial, the kind of access most documentarians can only dream about. But here's where things get complicated. Not everyone who was supposed to be in this documentary actually made it to the screen. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, who was there for some of the most important moments in Bad Boy history, got removed after disputes about money and creative control. And Jaguar Wright? Her material was reportedly labeled too controversial for Netflix. Too controversial for a documentary about a man who's been convicted of serious federal charges. Let that register for a second. Jaguar didn't take that well. In a recent interview, she called the entire project an insult to viewers' intelligence. She said about 80% of what's shown across those 4 episodes is information she's been talking about publicly for years. I feel like this whole thing is mocking me, she said. Now, some people might think she's just upset about not being included, but when you hear what she says was deliberately left out, it starts looking different. Let's talk about who's barely in this documentary, or who's not in it at all. Jay-Z gets mentioned maybe once or twice in 4 episodes. That's it. This is a man who ran in the same circles as Diddy for decades. They built empires at the same time, attended the same events, knew the same people. But in 50 Cent's telling of the Diddy story, Jay-Z is practically invisible. Jaguar pointed this out directly. She said, "For 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the documentary kept everyone else clean." Then there's Stevie J. He worked closely with Diddy for years. He was reportedly living at the Star Island house during key moments that are discussed in the documentary, but Stevie J doesn't appear in the series at all, not even a mention. According to Jaguar, that wasn't an oversight. That was a choice. And then we get to Clive Davis. This is the part that really made people's ears perk up. Clive Davis owned a majority stake in Bad Boy Records. He was a major power player in the structure that allowed Bad Boy to become what it became. You'd think someone with that level of influence would be a central figure in a documentary about the label's rise and fall. According to Jaguar, Clive Davis gets less than a minute of screen time across all 4 episodes. When asked in an interview who the worst celebrity she's ever been around was, Jaguar didn't hesitate. She named Clive Davis and used extremely strong language to describe her personal experience with him. She made serious allegations about his behavior and his role in broader industry issues. Now, these are Jaguar's claims. They're not confirmed facts. But what's raising questions is why someone with that much documented influence over Bad Boy gets so little attention in a documentary that's supposedly about accountability and exposing the truth. According to Jaguar, addressing Clive Davis directly would mean pulling back the curtain on the full power structure behind the music industry. And she believes certain people would rather that conversation never happen. Let's talk about Kim Porter, because this is where Jaguar says the documentary really failed. Kim Porter was the mother of 3 of Diddy's children. She passed away in 2018 under circumstances that still generate questions and speculation. From Jaguar's perspective, Kim's story should have been front and center in this documentary. Instead, she says Kim's story was mostly told through other people. One of the main voices used was Kimora Lee Simmons, Kalina Harper, a former artist connected to Diddy who appeared on camera to discuss Kim. Jaguar watched that interview and said it was difficult to watch. Not because she thought Kalina was lying, but because she could see Kalina was holding back. And Jaguar thinks she knows why. At the time of filming, Kalina was reportedly dealing with a custody battle involving her children. Speaking freely on camera during something like that is risky. Anything you say publicly can be brought up in court, can be used against you. Jaguar also pointed out that Kalina's husband is closely connected to Diddy's inner circle, which made the situation even more complicated. So from Jaguar's view, Kalina was stuck. She had to be careful about what she said to protect herself and her family. Jaguar said people should really think about that. Being asked to speak on camera about sensitive experiences while fighting a legal battle at home isn't a simple situation. Jaguar also noted that Kalina said she was present at the Star Island house around the time certain events were allegedly happening. Yet in her interview, Kalina said she didn't witness anything unusual. At the same time, Stevie J, who Jaguar says was living at that same house during those key moments, isn't in the documentary at all. Jaguar believes that wasn't accidental. It was deliberate. Now let's get into Gene Deal's situation because it explains a lot about what went down behind the scenes. Gene Deal was Diddy's bodyguard for years. He was there for business meetings, parties, studio sessions, everyday life. He saw things that very few people saw. Gene was expected to be a major voice in this documentary. According to him, 50 Cent personally reached out about participating. But things fell apart after a phone call with the documentary's director, Alex Stapleton. Gene said the conversation felt disrespectful. He felt like creative control and compensation weren't up for discussion. He also felt the money being offered didn't reflect the value of his experience or the footage he could provide. So Gene walked away. And honestly, when you hear it from his perspective, it's not hard to understand why. Gene and Jaguar both brought up the same concern. The documentary skipped over serious tragedies that deserved attention. One name Gene keeps mentioning is Anthony Wolf Jones. Wolf was Diddy's former bodyguard and close associate who was killed. His story barely gets addressed in the documentary, if it's mentioned at all. According to Gene, the production team told him they didn't have enough verified information to fully tell Wolf's story. But Jaguar doesn't buy that explanation. She doesn't think it was about missing details. She thinks telling stories like Wolf's would open up too many doors, raise too many questions, and force too many powerful people into the spotlight to answer uncomfortable things. Here's something that made people really start paying attention to what Jaguar was saying. Remember when she appeared on Piers Morgan's show and openly criticized Jay-Z and Diddy on live television? That clip went absolutely viral. Everyone was sharing it, reacting to it, debating whether she was telling the truth or going too far, and then, within 24 hours, the video disappeared. It was taken down, removed from the platform. That's not normal, especially when it comes from a major media outlet with millions of viewers worldwide. Piers Morgan is a global media figure with a massive platform. For a clip like that to vanish within a day shows the level of influence Jaguar believes certain people have behind the scenes. She thinks this kind of power can shape documentaries, steer networks, and control what the public gets to see. Even big platforms aren't immune to that pressure. Now we're getting into the part that Jaguar says makes people the most uncomfortable. And she's very careful about how she presents this, using protective language throughout. According to Jaguar, footage involving Justin Bieber and Diddy was cut from the documentary. She stresses that she's not making specific accusations about wrongdoing, but she is questioning boundaries and protection. Jaguar claims that Bieber's management allegedly kept distance between him and Diddy at certain points because they felt something wasn't right. Then Jaguar brings up Usher, and this is the part that really stops people in their tracks. According to her, Usher, who has his own complicated history with Diddy going back to when he was a teenager himself, allegedly allowed Diddy temporary guardianship of Justin Bieber for 48 hours when Bieber was still underage. Jaguar points out that this allegedly happened after Bieber had already been hospitalized for health-related reasons. She doesn't go into medical details, but she references interviews where Gene Deal has discussed that time period. From Jaguar's perspective, this raises serious questions. She asks what a lot of people are probably thinking. Does that sound like someone protecting a young artist? Does that sound like responsible decision-making, especially knowing what has since been alleged and proven in court about Diddy's behavior? Jaguar says this footage supposedly exists, but it never made it into the Netflix documentary. She believes names like Usher and Bieber were protected, possibly through legal pressure or private agreements, because including that material would have completely changed the narrative of the entire series. This brings us to Jaguar's biggest accusation, and it's aimed directly at 50 Cent. Jaguar doesn't believe 50 created this documentary out of good intentions. She doesn't think this was about justice for victims or exposing the truth to help people heal. She thinks this was about positioning, about power. In Jaguar's view, 50 Cent wants to push figures like Diddy and Jay-Z out of the way so he can control more of the industry himself. She said, he doesn't want things to change. He just wants to be the one running it. That's a strong accusation. But Jaguar stands by it. She reminds people that 50 Cent has been publicly clashing with Diddy for over 20 years. The trolling, the jokes online, the constant rivalry. So when accountability suddenly becomes the headline, Jaguar says she's not convinced the motivation is pure. And she didn't stop there. She went further and said she could expose 50 Cent over alleged environmental issues tied to property connected to studio operations in Shreveport. She made it clear she was speaking in terms of allegations, but she said she believes she has information to back it up. Her message to 50 was blunt. Do right by Shreveport, or she'll speak publicly about what she knows. She even added that everybody knows Diddy isn't the only one with secrets. That was a direct shot. Here's what really seems to fuel Jaguar's frustration. She's been talking about Diddy's behavior for years. When asked what she personally witnessed at his parties, she didn't sugarcoat anything. She described the environment as money-driven, chaotic, and unhealthy. And when reports started coming out about cameras inside Diddy's homes, Jaguar said she wasn't shocked at all. She also wasn't surprised by the allegations involving Cassie and claims about being pressured into uncomfortable situations. According to Jaguar, she's been speaking about this stuff publicly for years. But back then, nobody wanted to listen. People brushed her off. They called her unstable. They accused her of clout chasing. They painted her as a bitter former artist with an axe to grind. The message was clear. Ignore her and move on. Now fast forward to today. Diddy has been convicted on federal charges. Suddenly, everyone's acting stunned. People are pretending this all came out of nowhere, like there were no warning signs. But Jaguar says she was yelling about this the whole time. She even said, everybody knew about those parties. Everybody knew. From her perspective, the question isn't what happened. It's why now? Why is Diddy the one facing consequences at this specific moment? Jaguar compares it to other industry downfalls like R. Kelly. She says the business picks who gets exposed and when. In her eyes, it's not about justice, it's about control and timing. And then Jaguar said something that immediately set the internet on fire. According to her, Jay-Z is next. She claims she already knows who she believes will be targeted, and she says she's done holding back. She's ready to release more names, more footage, more information that never made it into Netflix's version of the story. She says she's done staying quiet while powerful people protect each other and smaller voices get ignored or erased. And here's the thing about situations like this. Once one person breaks the silence, it usually opens the door for others to speak up too. The documentary might be topping streaming charts right now, but Jaguar insists what we've seen is only the surface. She says the real reckoning hasn't even started yet. So where does all of this leave us? If this documentary was supposed to be the full accounting, why are so many key figures barely present or completely missing? Why was Jay-Z, someone who was in the same circles for decades, mentioned so briefly? Why was footage involving Justin Bieber reportedly left out? Why did Clive Davis, a major stakeholder in Bad Boy Records, get such minimal screen time? And the biggest question, why does Jaguar Wright, Believe 50 Cent has his own agenda that has nothing to do with helping victims or seeking real accountability? These are questions worth asking. Because if Jaguar is even partially right, then what we're watching isn't the full story. It's a version of the story that protects certain people while sacrificing others. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Jaguar Wright is making valid points? Or do you think she's going too far? Do you believe 50 Cent's intentions were genuine? Or do you think there's more to it? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into stories like this, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what comes next.